1 week, so many oopsies for Ubisoft, and so many of them to go through with all of you. But I want to thank everyone for all the happy birthday wishes. Thumbs up this video to say happy birthday. And I appreciate all of you. We're going to do a birthday live stream at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, which will be about 2 hours after this video goes up. If you want to come hang out, we're going to do a bit of a story time, so get your suggestions in for that. And I want to, again, thank all of you for the support. It's been a great week. So let's jump right into it. First, oopsie. Ubisoft has to apologize for slur in The Division 2's street art. That's right. Now, I am almost, I think, 30 hours into the game. I don't pay much attention to the actual art going on around. Maybe you do. That's okay. But if you're looking at this picture and you see this tiny red square, that's right. That's where it is. Let's get going. Ubisoft has apologized for Tom Clancy The Division 2's game, which is of course not political. Players spotted a piece of environmental art that contains a subtle but unmistakable slur. The image in question was in concerns of a mural on the side of The Division 2's Washington, D.C., evidently a reference to a cover of a 1981 single by Black Flag. It shows a cop wearing a badge whose number is FA6607. Okay, so some elite speak for an interesting word. It doesn't obviously present itself to passersby. If anything, it's a slant on cops, is what I'm guessing here, right? Obviously, a big fat cop eating a donut. Anyway, it was recognized in an imager gallery of environmental art for the game. And only when the players recognized the reference zoomed in on the badge, Ubisoft apologized for the art anyway. In a statement, they'd be reviewing its studio's asset reviews process. The image was taken out during a patch yesterday. This is peak nothing burger. This is peak whataboutism. Not even whataboutism. This is just insanity. Okay. Yeah, all right, fine. But we're talking about something that literally nobody noticed for months. You really have to issue an apology. This whole everybody has to apologize for everything, and because I'm offended, we're offended on other people's behalf culture. It's so annoying. Ubisoft has run into development level gaffes like this before. At the end of 2017, For Honor added a new finishing animation in which the victim of a female fighter class appeared to grope her before she finished him off. At that time, Ubisoft rep said the offending animation was from an earlier version that had not been approved. It was uploaded to the game by mistake. It was replaced almost a month later with an apology and promises that additional stopgaps. This is so dumb. It's asking developers to play whack-a-mole. Oh, we're going to put a system in place every time we make a mistake because PC Gamer and Polygon and Kotaku will yell at us if we don't. I mean, every one of these articles, basically, other than PC Gamer, which apparently broke the story, came out in the last 30 minutes. Ubisoft apologizes for the slur in Division 2. An image of a police officer that contained the word has been removed from the game. Very obviously translates from, quote, leet speak into this word. There's no clear context for it. Is the police officer homophobic, or is it just a statement about? Is it an anti-police statement, or is the word just... Who cares? This is a game where you're literally, engaging in guerrilla tactics, ending the lives of many people. But, this is what we're going to get mad about. Update. Some players think it's an image off is a riff on the 1981 Black Flag single police story. There are similarities, but even if that link is legitimate, it doesn't provide any additional context for the in-game image. And here is their apology. It's been brought to our attention that a piece of street art in Tom Clancy's The Division 2 contained something offensive. We removed the image from the game via a patch on Thursday, April 11th. We apologize that the image slipped through our content review process and are currently reviewing them in order to avoid this kind of oversight from occurring in the future. Ubisoft did not comment on how the image made it in the game in the first place, although the offending content is a very small part of the image and obviously not easy to pick out. So why even apologize for it? You know what I mean? Like, why even apologize for this stuff. And you get Heather Alexandria, who's always writing trash for Kotaku. The artwork was spotted by a player documenting odd and misspelled graffiti within the game. The image has since been removed. As reported by Deadsite Eurogamer, the artwork in question features an exaggerated portrait of a police officer chowing down on a donut. The badge bears a designation FA6607, which is elite speak for a naughty word. Whether the Imagine was meant to lambast police or not, yeah, the funny thing is, if it was clear, let me tell you how this would have worked out if they came out to say, yeah, it is to mock police, they would have left it in the game. Or, I mean, people wouldn't have been offended anyway. In an email to Kotaku, Ubisoft offered a statement similar to one that was provided to Eurogamer, which means it's the same thing. The offending image was removed. Well, thank goodness nobody is going to be offended. Now, I'm going to mix. This is a oopsie sandwich. So we've got oopsie, kind of good news, other oopsie, smashed together, otherwise known as an oopsie sandwich, just invented now. Splinter Cell is not dead, as Ubisoft boss discusses series' future. At some point, you will see something. But when? Clancy Heads got a big dose of nostalgia last year when Ghost Recon Wildlands introduced Special Operation 1, a free add-on mission that let you hang out with Splinter Cell badass Sam Fisher. In a new interview, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot confirms that the company has plans for a new Splinter Cell series, although it's not clear what shape those plans might be. Coming on that machine. What? Okay, anyway. I should have read the first sentence, but buried in the discussion of the diversion on Splinter Cell is how the game changed Ubisoft. It was a gamble, he said. The company initially launched the game on the original Xbox, but skipped the PlayStation 2. Coming on that machine and that PlayStation at the time was a bit risky, but we wanted the capacity of that machine. IGN's host Ryan McCaffrey pressed Guillermo, I hope I'm pronouncing that, on Splinter Cell, why it's been dormant for so long. Answers the question very carefully. When you create a game and you have to make sure you come up with everything, when you create a game, you have to make sure that you come with something different enough from what you did before, he said. Well, tell that to Call of Duty and Battlefield 5 and the Maddens and the MLB, the shows. And by the way, I allowed myself to purchase Metro Exodus yesterday. Why, might you ask? Well, I had like 30,000 Dave & Buster's points, so I just went to Dave & Buster's, and I'm like, whoa, they have PlayStation 4 games? Cool. And so take that, Epic exclusive. I wanted to play it on PC, but I'm not buying from Epic. Anyway, Guillermo goes on to say that the last Splinter Cell game, Blacklist, arrived amid a very vocal fan base reaction saying, don't change this, don't do that. That made Ubisoft's team anxious about working on a follow-up for the series. Now that some people are looking at the brand, taking care of the brand, so at some point you will see something. I can't say more than that. Well, that's what we in the business call the money quote. It's indirect but clear confirmation that something is being worked on. Ubisoft obviously isn't ready to talk about whatever it is yet, so we might be waiting a few years. Interesting. Splinter Cell is, of course, beloved amongst older gamers who played it on the original consoles and stuff like that. Tom Clancy, obviously a very popular license, so, it'd be good to see that game revived as long as you don't screw it up. But anyway, this is another story that was sent to me. Many of you emailed me about Anno 1800, and I didn't cover it because I was like, oh, great, it's another game hosing Steam customers to go to an Epic exclusive. But to complete the Ubisoft oopsie sandwich, why not cover it? So Anno 1800 will be an exclusive to Epic Game Store in 5 days. This was on April 12th. So essentially, if you aren't pre-ordering the game on Steam by April 16th, you will lose that ability. This is very similar to the Metro Exodus situation, where if you don't pre-order the game on Steam, you won't get to use it on Steam. This is disgusting. I think Steam should just boot the game altogether. They're basically just using it on Steam, using Steam to get pre-orders, and then switching to an Epic Game Store exclusive. Ubisoft has made the decision to bring Anno 1800 to Epic Games Store. And by the way, I expect more of this coming from Ubisoft. The title is currently available to purchase on Steam. However, the game won't be available on Steam till after April 16th. In a note in the game's official Steam page, it was announced by Steam that while the publisher has decided to make Anno 1800 exclusive to another PC store, while the Epic Games Store isn't mentioned by name, judging by the recent wave of Epic Store exclusives, it's not hard to figure out which PC store Anno is going on to. Sales of Anno 1800 will be discontinued on Steam after April 16th due to a publisher decision to make the game exclusive to another PC store. The publisher has assured thus that all prior sales of the game on Steam will be fulfilled on Steam, and Steam owners will be able to access the game and any future updates or DLCs through Steam. We apologize to Steam customers that we were expecting it to be available for sale after the April 16th release date. April 16th, Anno will not be available for purchase, but those who have already bought a copy via Steam will have access to the game once it comes out. It's available on Epic Games Store for $59.99. The news definitely won't sit well with the gaming community. Epic Store buying exclusive games has been a topic of discussion among PC gamers. Most recently, Borderlands 3 fans were outraged to find out it won't be available on Steam. Many banded together to quickly review brigade previous Borderlands games on Steam. Valve quickly took action and removed them. It wouldn't be surprising to see Anno fans review brigading previous games in the series to protest Ubisoft's decision. Epic Games Store exclusive game-up is growing, and while fans aren't happy about it, Epic isn't bothered one bit. Yeah, they don't care about gamers. Epic Games Store exclusive game lineup may grow further with future Ubisoft releases like Assassin's Creed Ragnarok, Splinter Cell, and more. However, Ubisoft games are available to purchase through Uplay, which is still more consumer-friendly than the Epic Games Store. Yeah, I use Uplay. It's fine. I think that is a fair medium. It does present a unique crisis of conscience, right? Because a lot of people say, I really don't want to support Epic Games Store, but I really want this game, so I'll still buy it from Uplay, or I'll still buy it from the Bethesda launcher, or I'll still buy it from, Origins or whatever. Well, that EA is not a good example, but you get what I'm saying. And I get that. But then the real purist is like, well, I don't want to support a company that is doing this type of stuff. That, I think, is honorable. And we agree that skipping a single video game is not that big of a deal. But then again, I think you've got to live your life. I'm getting older now. You've got to live your life. And if you want to play a game and then you can still get it by not using Epic Games Store, I think that's good. I mean, a lot of people will sail the high seas. Obviously, I disavow, but I think that this is a natural reaction to anti-consumer behavior, which is how I view it. Because what happened to users getting all this like cheaper prices and more interesting things because it's on Epic Games Store? Remember when they said that? How they said, "Oh, well, because we're going to be getting our games lower cut, we may sell the games cheaper. We may give you more options." That was all BS. The Epic Games Store has a surprising amount of exclusives coming over on their platform. Used to be the default that used to be on the default one-way stop shop on PC, Steam. Everyone lived happily ever after. Oh wait, actually it led to Steam users review brigading games like Borderlands 3, Metro Exodus. And after they went to Epic Games Store, the bigger concern here is the whole idea of games that are exclusive to just one platform, whether our game libraries really belong to us or not. That is a very good, this is a decent article, I think. And it brings up decent questions because they don't belong to you. This is why I think you see a rise in retro gaming. Both of these titles, $120 in games, they're just downloads. And at any moment, PlayStation could ban me, take my games away, because they're not really mine. I'm paying $60 for the privilege to... Kristen Cavallari says, just Jay Cutler unclogged her milk ducts by sucking harder than he's ever sucked. I think Bears fans might have something to say about that. Jesus, Kotaku, why are you writing this crap? Oh, it's Jezebel. No wonder you were sold at a discount. These are opening up good questions about, we don't, as consumers, especially in modern day video games, We don't own anything. You could say like, hey, movies at least they're on the disc, but video games, there's such huge downloads and roster updates and digital online, libraries and online live services like we see coming up with the new Dragon Age game. All this crap can be taken away from you if they don't like what you do, and it's a sad state. We've lost a lot of power as consumers, and as more people move to the Epic Game Store, which is a place where we can't read reviews. By the way, I'm launching reviews on Tuesday on exclusivelygames.com. That will be a place where you can leave your reviews as well. I think these are all interesting topics to go into the weekend for. Let me know what you're playing this weekend. Let me know what your topics are, what you have to think about all these ideas, and we'll talk to you again real soon.